Well, let's go ahead and get started. And we are thin here, but we can make a quick meeting of it. So yeah, next week is LF's. What does ONE stand for? Open Networking something?
And Edge Summit.
And Edge. Thanks. That takes me. I won't be available, but perhaps others feel free to go ahead and hold the meeting if you've got anything to talk about. So, Timon, you were also asking if anyone has plans for next week, like meetups and so on.
Yeah, I'm also going to be at the conference, so I won't be available for this meeting. But I'm curious if anybody else is from this group is attending. I'll take silence as a no, but if so, feel free to message me as well.
So shall we have a meeting next week? Well, it's all auto set up, so if anyone has reason to meet, please do. Well, let's just make quick work of it here. If we don't have any pressing issues, is there? I know there's been a little activity on some PR requests on the core. Anything to add to that?
Sorry, can you repeat again about the activity in the core? What exactly is happening?
Well, there were some PRs that AJ just approved.
Just we have. Let's see. One second. Yeah, we have. Yeah, we made a few changes. Like created a new tag based on a Gulson from Canonical requests to create a new tag for a couple of repos, and yeah, we are up to date basically. So there is only 3 PRs open. 3 other ones are in a draft state.
So you created a new tag, and is that what I heard?
Yeah, for a couple images that we start seeing an issue with the mismatch on signature for the GoZoom for the GoZoom in the Go modules. So yeah, we received a notification last week that there was an issue like that in the Gmail VC module. And then later on, we made a few fixes with Ajay, and then this week Canonical indicated that they saw something similar with AMF, SMF, and UDM repos. So we created new tags for that.
Great, thanks.
That's just tags, no images, just in case.
Yeah. But these are tags that corresponded to images that had been fixed.
Say one more time, please.
I didn't understand what the tags were for. Maybe I misunderstood.
Oh yeah, so the issue is or was because sometimes the Golang proxy finds there is some type of mismatch with the GoZoom module and the whatever the Golang proxy has. So since the Canonical team doesn't use the Docker images, so they are basically building the code from source. So they take the Go build, and that's why they see this issue.
I got it.
That's what I'm saying. We didn't create any Docker images, but because we don't have any, the images that we created, which is 1.4.0, and that happened in the release like almost a month ago. Those are working fine. Locally, when I review PRs, I have all these the latest source code with the Docker image, with the creating Docker images with the latest source code. I don't see that issue. But if I try to replicate what they are kind of like indicating as an issue, we are able to replicate that. And that's why we create only the tag. So that's why for the Canonical team, the only relevant component is the tag. It's not, they don't really need the Docker images.
Got it. All right, so
Only two
Nothing
PRs open, by the
major
way.
going on there. SD-RAN, Wuzhong is out. Anyone else have anything to report?
Just one clarification: the SD core is only, we have only two PRs open and those two PRs are related to the UPF. One that Mark opened, that we need to kind of get into that one, and there is one that Suresh open to re-enable packet testing framework from the UPF.
Okay, yeah.
Everything else we're, yeah. Now from the SD-RAN, maybe I don't know if you're gonna touch with the on-ramp that says the developer workflow.
Yeah. So
about the
status report on SD-RAN itself, there's nothing to report. No one here to report it. I've got a brief on-ramp status update, which is simply what Gabriel was referring to, which he's giving me a bunch of suggestions and some PRs to help improve on-ramp for developer workflows. Local charts, the list is, the details is escaping me right at the moment, but there are several things in progress right now. Yeah, we added support for local home charts to the core, but I'm going to add it to SD-RAN as well.
And the ROC as well.
And AMP as well, yeah. And there's just a sort of other cleanup, basically. There's not much more to say than that. Kanal, I see you've got QA, couple bullets.
Yes, Larry. So I was, I mean, while debugging one of the UV ransom issue, I got some issues on core side, but yeah, I think Gabriel has already addressed them, and I have, I mean, for now, I am looking at on a different issue where we are what I have seen is the summary.log that gets created for GNB sim, it does not get created for a few instances. So it's an intermittent issue, but yeah, for a couple of times I have seen this. So due to that, our jobs are getting failed because we look for the UV passed thing in summary.log. So I'm not sure if Gabriel has had.
Is this with the on-ramp?
Yes, this is with the on-ramp.
Yep.
Yeah. So Larry, even like when I'm started adopting this on-ramp since last week, sometime I also see that like there are, I mean, I don't see one failure, I see in fact all failures. So yes. So
I'm confused. You guys have lost me in context here. So when you run on-ramp by default with the simplest blueprint will run GNB sim.
correct.
And then what do you see with GNB sim?
For me,
I mean,
like
what's the failure mode you're describing?
Okay, for me, like it sometimes it works and all the 5 subscriber passes, and sometimes it just fails all subscriber, and then I uninstall and install again, and then it works. So I'm not still there to see how to debug.
Are you checking the intermediate stages, like for example, that the workload got installed in Kubernetes and stuff like that?
Yeah, so typically the steps I have followed at least is that first step is the Kubernetes install. Second is just the SD core install and wait for all the pods to be up. And then third step is that install GNB and call that make run, right? To run the test. So that make run, sometime it works, sometime it doesn't work. So yeah, I mean, I don't have any root cause why it happens, but I just started using it since last week. And so I'm very much new with the on-ramp, yeah.
Yeah, so one
Maybe
thing
I
that
may be doing something wrong. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let me know as you unwind that a little bit. One thing that I have noticed is, and I don't understand it, is sometimes when I reinstall the core, I also have to reinstall GNB Sim, even though that doesn't make sense to me because it's running independently. So there may be some underlying instability in there that I haven't
Okay.
put my finger on. Yeah, let me know how any
Yeah.
specifics that you have.
Okay.
Larry,
Mm-hmm.
regarding the on-ramp, do you have any timeline for the different kind of improvements?
I didn't quite catch that.
Oh, if you have any, for example, I have a couple of PRs open. There is a few more suggestions regarding, for example, local health charts and things like that. Do you have any timeline of when that can be completed or?
Well, so there's an open PR now that I think we discussed yesterday on Slack that is, we don't need to do because there's another way of doing it. Having to
Oh,
do with,
no, that's not a PR in that one. There is no PR for that one. That was just a suggestion. The PR that is
so
open is about it's about moving to the, well, maybe you're considering the
Is it
same.
to on-ramp or is it to one of the subsystems?
There is two, one in 5GC and one in on-ramp. One is basically to,
Yeah, so
reduce the amount of files.
core values, I'm still trying to get it to work with multiple UPFs, and there's just, I've not gotten that to work yet, so I can't.
Okay.
I don't want to break the UPFs.
Sure.
That we talked a little bit about that. So the other one was in on-ramp.
Yeah.
And this is the one I think we decided we didn't need to do.
So this one is just to delete, to remove the.
This was I thought this was the.
Because the latest, the one that I mentioned, chart version latest, that's something, a message that I send you to you and Bilal in Slack. But this is different. It's just moving to a new version of the charts.
Where is this? Oh, this is the eNode B.
No, that's for all of the. If you see on the left hand side is the new version of the latest charts.
I don't understand. This was merged in some time ago.
I think I opened last Friday, probably this one.
I am. So this is the variable file.
And same way, like Larry, like main.yaml and main-gnb both have the gnodeb images tag. I was like a bit confused where to add it. So
Well, right, here's the chart version. So I'm totally confused as to what
Yeah, the thing is that we create, since we created new we created new Helm charts. So version 101 is now. That's what I'm moving
I'm sorry, so it's 101. I wasn't looking carefully enough.
Yeah, before it was, so if you can go into the next one. Yeah, so you see it goes from 100
this one I
to
didn't
101.
change. This one I didn't change because I think we decided we were not touching.
Yeah, regardless. So we're not touching, yes, but we still can use the latest version 101 because from the 4G perspective, it is still using whatever old version is there. So everything basically gets moved to 101.
Fine, that's a wash. That one doesn't really matter then. Yeah, I just missed that this PR had come in.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. This is kind of different compared to the one that we're talking about using latest charts instead of
so this is
a specific version.
Yeah, so thank you for raising it to my attention. So I got this confused with something else. So kind of procedurally, on-ramp doesn't necessarily want to track the latest cutting edge code until appropriate set of, we did the whole candidate thing last time. Now, maybe that's because this is really a 0.01. Maybe that makes it different. It's just a maintenance release. I guess that would be the argument as to why just to go ahead and do this. Is that, do you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So as a maintenance release, it should be the case that I can just go ahead and accept these.
Yeah, the thing is in here, we created a new image for the PCF.
Yeah, but do you get the point? The point I want to make is that I didn't want to include the latest Helm charts in on ramp when they were a minor or a major release.
Oh, okay.
But I'm sorry, instantly. I mean, we want to, that was the whole thing. We had the candidate testing first.
Okay.
That was going from 0.12.8 to 1.00. I'm just making mental note that because this is a maintenance release, we don't have to necessarily go through the same hurdles. If that, hopefully that made some sense.
Yeah, well,
So
these
the
are just
answer
some
is
improvements.
that could happen right now.
Yeah, no, but the relevant part is again the local Helm chart. That would be more relevant. Something that would be more
Yeah.
important. for us.
I hope to get to that today.
Mhm. And also the on-ramp needs to move the dependencies.
What was that one?
No, there is a new PR that needs to be open on the on-ramp to move the dependencies to a newer, to track the new changes on the sub modules.
Okay. Back to here. All right. So I will just make note. Oops. Okay. All right, now let's finish. We were in the middle of QA. Let's go back to QA for a second. Canal
Yeah.
on, yeah, pick it up where you left off.
Yeah. So next is improvement in UV ransom deployment. So I just want to propose that if we can have a single target, and also if we have a code for removal of existing UV ransom repo, if there is any, then I think this would be from the user's perspective, it would be quite helpful for deployment. So in a single target, we can directly deploy Ether on ramp with UV ransom.
So I'm not following what the ask is here. You're asking removal of the existing UE ransom repo. What do you mean by that?
No, so for that is for just if there is already a cloned repo on the machine that uh, we are trying to deploy on. So this code will just remove that existing repo and reinstall the new UV ransom repo, or
Well, I mean,
clone the.
this is
Yeah.
maybe this is an issue for every single one of these repos. If
Right.
you only care about, say, UE ransom and you're not cloning the entirety of Ether on ramp. Is this kind of the scenario?
No, Larry. I think the issue. I also experienced that issue last week. So what Kunal is saying is that if either you, for example, do a Ether dash UE ransim install,
Yeah,
the first step that it's gonna do is gonna clone the UE ransim repo, right?
got it.
Let's assume that you finalize that, and then you
Got it.
run again.
Now I am sorry. Yeah, now I understand. Thank you. Sorry, I shouldn't have cut you off, but other people might have been benefited, but now I got it.
Yeah, but the only thing wouldn't be just to delete the old repository. It would be check. It would be better to check whether there's any local changes already made instead of just blindly delete it. Or
For now, I have just, I am on the opinion that just deleting the existing UE ransom, sorry, only existing repo, because if we try to check and remove, then if we directly try to remove, then if there is any existing changes, it will automatically fail.
Okay, then from that perspective, during the installation process, it would be good to, when cloning the repository, give it a specific name, for example, UE ransim dash on ramp or something like that, such that it deletes only, that specific version of on ramp. In the case, for example, if I download the UE ransim on my own, I don't want on ramp to delete my own repository, but delete its own repository, right? So the
Right.
repository that was cloned when doing the install process. That would be my personal preference. So it doesn't, my own changes don't get deleted.
Sure, that we can do.
Yeah, I think that's sounds like a good idea. So the last bullet is moving the job definitions to GitHub. I'm anxious to see this one done. How is that
Yes.
progressing and what help do you need?
So here, I just want some clarity on this, because earlier we used to have this repo on Gerrit, and DAF was planning to move the entire structure on GitHub. So if that is still in the plan, if we are moving it to GitHub, then we need to move the whole Ether CI management definition to Ether Jenkins repo that we planned.
Yeah, I'd like to have all of this out of Garrett. So if you can make use of Ether Jenkins on GitHub, that would be the right target. And if you need help doing that, let me know.
Sure. Yeah, last time we talked about this. At that point in time, DAF was planning to move the entire structure towards GitHub. So I just wanted to double
Well,
check.
I have not had a chance to go over that with DAF. So if there is a decision to be made with DAF, then we should obviously do that.
Sure.
So maybe is that kind of the argument you're making, or the suggestion here? Where is it here? So the sub bullet you have in the notes, create Ether on-ramp jobs definition for 6 jobs.
Yes. So for few jobs, I have already created jobs definition, but yeah, those are in local changes right now. Once the repo is, we'll get a go ahead for this. I'll move all these definitions on GitHub then.
All right, I'll start a thread with DAF to make sure that we're not tripping over each other on this.
Probably one more thing that we have pending with that, with the SD-RUN project, is we're stuck with a few, like 6-7 PRs that we cannot merge due to Jenkins jobs issue that it doesn't start.
So there's a bunch of stalled out jobs on Jenkins that are SD-RAN related. Is this what you're referring to?
Yeah, but I gave him a list of 6 specific PRs of work that we have done in our team to enable several GitHub actions for the different repositories, such that we can start kind of replacing Jenkins with GitHub actions.
And was this is specifically related to SD-RAN too, right?
Yep, SD-RAN, sorry, there is one for the SD-RAN and the remaining are for the ROC. But
Ah.
all of them are in the same ONOS project organization.
Got it. And these are some PRs that he needs.
Yeah, he already knows. I have been trying following him
Yeah.
with that for a few weeks.
Okay, I'll just put it down as a reminder. Okay. Thanks. Anything else? All right, so regarding next week, do you want to make a decision to cancel or do you want to just leave it open? Let's leave it open and the default is that the meeting will happen. Someone else will need to take notes, but that's not so hard.
Hey, Larry, a quick note, maybe as we talked about last time, when we Google SD core, we don't show up right on the resulting page, right? We have to Google, private 5G and then Ether shows up, right? So maybe there is a way to think about, how to update the website to make sure, will show up in the search, right? And I know Ajay mentioned there are some ways to write, web page specifically that we can have, a better chance of showing up, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, Chris.
there's two halves to that. The new Ether website is sitting there waiting for some DNS work to go live. All right, so that's in progress, and it turns out that having once transferred all of our DNS to LF, we now have to submit tickets for every one of these changes. We used to just be able to do them ourselves. Little side comment there that things just got harder, but there's a second half to that, which is how do we get the search results to hit the new site? And I'm guessing that maybe there's some kind of redirect that we could put in the old site. Does that do it? What's the trick?
Yeah, I don't know.
So-
and also,
so-
as Mark and Ajay mentioned, right, there is this SEO when we write a page or template, which can really help in the search, right? This is, probably an update of the page itself, of the content, right? Regardless, once the DNS problem is fixed, right? After, how do we make sure if people type, open source 5G or private 5G network, that we have the appropriate keyword in the page, so they will show up in the search, right?
So can someone else fill in the specifics?
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you, Larry. I think we spoke over.
I just wondered if someone else has specific details as to how to make that work. This is unfamiliar.
So Larry, I think what happened is that most of our document we give more preference to Aether keyword or SD core keyword, but we do not give like open source 5G. These are the keywords we should have on our website as well. So if we just say Aether SD core, I mean we know it's for private 5G or something, right? But it doesn't come up in the search engine.
So literally, this is getting the keywords into the text. On the
Yes.
page.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And
So
we are not good in doing it currently. Yes.
So and the key in your mind is open source 5G.
Yeah, correct.
One of
private
them,
5G,
yeah.
open source 5G. Yeah.
multi-core.
Yeah. And it should be like either in the website or on our GitHub document or on Aether docs or maybe SD core docs. Everywhere we give very less preference to these keywords, but we should do more. Yeah.
Mhm. From the web
So,
page
yeah, I
perspective,
completely
typically you are-
agree.
Sorry,
Sorry.
go ahead.
So I just want to say, I completely agree, and we have been kind of blocked for trying to get this Ether website launched. But Larry, I can't find it now. But if you could post here the what the developer URL for basically the staging site, we could use everybody's input now because we can make edits to this content. This is it here, and maybe you could just post this URL to chat.
Yeah, that's the RAN piece. Here's the main, we're trying to get DNS to point to this so that it's
Mhm.
etherproject.org, obviously. let me put this in the chat.
Thank you.
Yeah, so as to the question of SEO experts, I'm sure there are.
Yeah, I can, take care of the SEO related components, whatnot to it. And frankly, I mean, it's a black art. Nobody really knows what Google indexes on, but the main thing is to just have, good content and also
Yeah.
have other pages that point to your content. Those are kind of the key things. But, we plan to kind of, Larry's done, the editing on this site. We plan to kind of broaden the editor base and continue to polish up this content.
Yeah, it's just very frustrating how slowly everything moves, but it does. Anything else?
So Larry, we moved GNodeB SIM document from the SD core site to the GNodeB's GitHub page. That cleanup we have done, this was the second commit in last 2 weeks to make the GNodeB SIM documentation a little bit better and independent.
So it is now a standalone repo on the OMEC
Yeah.
project, or?
Yeah, correct.
No.
Correct. So GitHub has its. So GNodeB SIM is the project within the OMEC project, right?
Right,
It's
right.
one of the repositories. So,
Right.
and its documentation was at 3 different places. One was the GitHub repository itself. Other was
Yep.
SD core docs, and
Yep.
few things are there on the on-ramp.
Yep.
So what we have done is that we have moved the content from the SD core docs to GitHub repository. And in the SD core doc, we added few lines saying that GNodeB SIM is the default simulator we use for testing. And if you want to know more about how to use GNodeB SIM, then point it to the on-ramp. That's the thing we added in the SD core docs.
Got it.
So yeah, so giving the references to on-ramp from both GNodeB SIM repository as well as from the SD core repository. That's what we have done. And we have cleaned up the GNodeB SIM repository to arrange the content by providing table of contents. Or now it's in a good shape. We can start adding more content there. Yeah, but
Got
it's a
it.
single
Okay.
source to get more details. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
having the single
Gabriel.
source, that's good.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the main point here. All right, I'll take a look as well. I haven't done that recently.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Anything else? Okay. Thank you, and I guess in 2 weeks for me, but the rest of you next week. Bye-bye.
I
Thank you,
want
Mike.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.